Good morning from a rather breezy Torridon. I'm just at the far northern end of Loch, parked at the roadside, and I'm just walking in to, well, get a little taster for the wilderness in this part of the world. I'm walking into an area called Flowerdale today. Flowerdale Forest it's called. And anywhere else in the world, if you said the word forest, you'd assume that you were going to see trees. These trees here, which are all Scots pine, they've all been planted deliberately. I suspect are the only trees I will see in this little excursion. It's part of attempts you'll see all over Scotland to try and increase our forest cover, which has been cut back to just woeful extent compared to what it used to be. But there are attempts to try and put it right, and so things like this are very worthwhile. Of course, the problem is with all these things, with trees, is you won't ever see the end result in our lifetime, which seems rather sad, but it's the effort you have to put in so that the next generation has forests to enjoy. I've always thought that when you're walking through country estates, who always have these wonderful grand big old beech trees and oak trees, you think, well, they can't have been around to actually enjoy these trees when they planted them, and of course they wouldn't have been. But it was all part of just the ongoing process, I suppose, of where each generation plants forests, woods, trees, so that the next generation has trees to enjoy. I'm sure I once heard somebody call it cathedral conservation or cathedral landscaping, just as a reference to all these grand old medieval cathedrals that people built, which took decades, hundreds of years sometimes to build. So all these people who were slaving away on these cathedrals never actually got to see the end result of what they were working on. And I suppose it's the same with forests, really. Interesting panel, that there's quite a few interesting panels. I do like interesting panels all the way along this path. This is all an area of trees which is currently fenced off to protect it from deer, which will graze on the land here and eat the tree saplings that everyone's planted. It's quite interesting saying that all these trees, in order to keep it very sympathetic to the local environment, all the seeds of these Scots pines were brought from the Ben A reserve down on the shores of Loch, but also from the islands of Loch itself. So genetically they should be at the same stock as the other trees in this area, which makes sense. And all the other ones, all the broadleaf trees, the aspen, the rowan, the oak, they've all been brought from an estate down on Loch. So it's all kept very local, which is nice to see. But they're saying that the fence all the way around this quite large area has to be kept in place for about 10 to 15 years. To stop it from being destroyed, I suppose, by deer. So they'll bring it down after that time. After 10 to 15 years, the fence will come down and hopefully it will be a self-sustaining woodland. But always there's the problem in Scotland where trees spread their seed and try to regenerate naturally. There's always going to be the problem with deer. But then that's a natural part of the natural process, deer grazing on saplings, and that's fine. We've got such high numbers in some parts of Scotland as we do, and the fact that we don't have big nasty predators moving our deer from place to place and stopping them grazing in one place for too long, it does mean that lots of our trees don't regenerate as they should. While it's all very nice and picturesque to walk up a path that has a burn flowing down it, it shouldn't be here. You can see what a trench this is. Anyone who gets out and about in Scottish countryside, goes hill walking, will know how wet some of the paths get, and it's a constant battle to keep water running off paths. With the passage of feet and the passage of bike wheels, trenches get formed, and water runs down that more freely. But once the water actually starts getting onto the path, as soon as you dig into the path a bit, then it's much more easy for the water to run stones and debris and dirt off further down the hill, and the trench just gets bigger and bigger. And unless something's done about it, it gets as big as this, which is practically a canyon now. And it shouldn't be this way. There should be hill drains in place to take water off the hill, which comes off here, and you can see here how this is where the water naturally wants to come off the hill, off here. But it's all running down here, and there is a pipe in here, there is a drain, which is taking the water out and down away to the hillside where it should be, and eventually to that loch. But obviously it's not doing that, and some work needs to be done here to make sure that all this water coming off the hill goes in that pipe, because you can see with it running down here the damage it's causing. It's a consistent, ever-present problem for anyone trying to maintain paths. It's never as simple as just putting a path in across an estate or a hill and then just leaving it and thinking that's it, people can come in and it'll be fine, it'll be dry. It won't. It needs a lot of maintenance. That's why we should be eternally grateful to the many work parties that go out, especially on National Trust for Scotland estates like the ones in Glencoe or Arran. They have work parties out all the time, just doing path maintenance and keeping the paths in a state that fit. Funnily enough, since we were just talking about that, these are actually hill drains. We've come across a sequence of a few of them up here, and these are designed to take the high slope, the in-slope, take the water along here and down where it won't do any damage to the path. But the problem is you have to keep these things empty, you have to keep them clear, otherwise the water just comes and runs over it. It catches what's coming down the path and runs it off. But you can see how remote and unforgiving this landscape is. So like I say, hats off to work parties who come out and do path repair, because it's long walk-ins, hauling heavy gear, sometimes hauling stone in. It's hard work, and without them we wouldn't have such great paths to walk. But then I was reading some blog post that somebody had done not so long ago saying that paths are themselves an intrusion into the kind of wilderness that we're all trying to get out and enjoy. So maybe paths themselves shouldn't be here. It's at least of all maintained paths, but that's a debate that's open to question, and I'm sure everyone's got their own views about that. Ah, there you go, this is what I wanted to see. When suddenly you're around the corner and, oh, getting rain now, there we go, snowy mountains start to appear. That's what I wanted to see. Well, after walking for, not sure how long we've been walking actually, less than an hour, we've come to the exit of the protected bit of forest, but as you can see, the gate is open. So you've got all this fence going right around this whole enormous bit of land, and the deer can just get in here. So, yeah. Anyway, open hillside now. We're heading in that direction. The path's sort of going, well, it goes up there first, and then I can see it's going sort of across this hill here and over that way. River crossing. Isn't it very big? And it's not very deep. It doesn't take much just to dislodge your footing, only a few inches. And the stones are slippery too, so I'm going to get the poles off my back and get through. See you on the other side. Well, this is what I came to see. I'm getting wonderful views of the mountains beyond now. There's that light doing what it does in the winter and autumn seasons, really low light, lovely shadows. Lovely quality of light. All the way over there it's Leargach, the pinnacles over there, and I think this big blocky one is Ben Gerag, which typically isn't one of the big hills that people tend to climb in Torridon, but it's because it's tucked away all by itself, but it's well worth it. Ah, finally we have the loch. Well, it's not a bothy for general use because it's locked. Not surprised it has to be anchored down. There's a boat in there and a couple of chairs. It's a nice place to ride out a storm. You get caught short. So there we have it, a nice taster, a nice bit of exploration into this part of Torridon that I've not been into before. I wish I had longer actually, I wish I'd had a... I didn't get up early enough actually, otherwise I could have got one of these hills in, but I could quite like to do them both in one day, but that would be a big long day. Longer than is probably possible at this time of year with the light that we have. But it's a nice taster to know there's things to come back and do another time. Well, it wasn't quite the end of the day and I've got a bit of light left and it's a good path to follow back and I've got my head torch, so I figured I'd try and get just a little bit of height while I'm out here, just so I can get the views further out. So I'm now getting up level with the snow line over there and I can see the path goes all the way over there. Through that gap is where I'd come, and then over here's Loch Marie. Way out over there in the distance you can make out the settlements all along the west coast, hopefully. It's a long walk back, but I thought I'd make best use of the time I have by just getting a bit of height. So I'm just going to go not straight up that bit. I'm going to go over there and just see if I can get some further views out towards the other side, because this time of day when the sun's going down, the light in Torridon when the sun casts through cloud onto sort of the bronze rusty coloured landscape is something else. So if I can get some photos I'll be very happy. Well, instantly it's been worth getting the height because I can now see h-Oidhche way over there, right in the distance, looking as gnarly as ever. That's a wonderful hill. Amazing view, just wonderful. These are the moments you live for. Just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. First snowy walk of 2013. Oh, it feels wonderful. Well, I hadn't planned on coming quite this far, but the temptation was too great. final bit. This really is the summit. But it looks really grim over there. I suspect I'm about to be engulfed. Oh God, that's hard work. Just sat at the top of the hill in hail, waiting for it to pass. Alright, now it's properly snowing now, so I'm not going to hang around. Thought I might get a view, but I don't think I'm going to. I'm sure I will on the way down, it's just a passing shower, but I'm not going to hang about. It's 3 o'clock, there's a couple of hours of daylight left. I need to get on a long way back. Here we go. Snowing! Oh, I haven't seen snow for ages. It's very, very pretty.